Hello team, this is Rana from Team BSRC from India, and this is a short tutorial on how to make a drivetrain, a four-wheel drivetrain using the Rev Robotics kit, which will be given for the first global challenge this year, and something which looks like this. And to make this, I will need you to have your Onshape account set up and ready, and I will also need you to download a couple of parts from the internet, and I will be providing the link to downloading these parts. The file is called Partlist Drivetrain, and you can download all of them using the link I give you. So if you have the Onshape account set up and have these parts downloaded, then we are all set to go. So first in Onshape, I would like first we will go ahead and click on Create and click on Folder. You can name this folder anything you want. Let's name it First Global Challenge and then click on Create. Inside the folder, we will go ahead and click on Document, and we can call this Drivetrain and then click on OK. And if you wait for a bit, the screen like this would come up. So this is the drivetrain which we are going to model in the software in Onshape. And just a few basic things about Onshape. So I would suggest that you guys use a mouse while doing the CAD in your software. It becomes much easier. So if you do a right click on your mouse, will be able to revolve around in this manner. And if you click on the scroll button, you will able to pan around and move around the model. So first we can see Path Studio and Assembly. These are the two tabs which are open in Onshape. And what we want to do next is first import all the parts from the part list folder which I will be providing. So which we can click on Insert New Element, the plus sign, then click on Import. Here you will need to search for the folder. There it is, Part List Drivetrain. And then I would like you guys to select all of the files. There are about 10 of them, and click on Open. Next, if you see something like this, you can go ahead and select Combine to a Single Part Studio and then click on OK. You will see a couple of notifications, which means that the parts are uploading, and this takes about 2 to 3 minutes. So you can just look around in this menu itself if all the parts have been uploaded. And as they start uploading, at the bottom you will be seeing more tabs coming up. Okay. Next we want to click on Assembly 1, where we will assemble all the parts. So just to give you an overview, this is a motor mount part which we will be using. This is called a pillow bracket, which will be used later on. This is a corner bracket, and there are many such parts which we will be using. So first go ahead to Assembly 1. Then we will go ahead and click on Insert. And I want you to import Rev 41-1432 in here. Once you've done that, click on the tick mark, and this is our first part. Now we will select this by clicking on it. You can revolve by a right click. You can do pan with the scroll button. What we want to do next is get this laying flat. Right now it's vertical, so we will select that button and type out 90 degrees and then click on the white space, and now it has become vertical. Next we will need to insert the corner bracket, which is rev-41-1320. So if you click on that, your mouse pointer will get the part in the workspace, and you can then use the part wherever you would like to. Then click on the tick mark and we are good to go. So if you revolve around now, here we will now try to join this part, which is the corner bracket, with the extrusion, which is the main component, the structural component of the robot. So if you look here, we have used a lot of extrusions to make it strong, the wheelbase or the drivetrain strong. And we have used corner brackets very often, so we will be doing that here too. We will first, now what we have to do is go to this menu over here and click on Fasten Mate. Once you do that, you will see such a menu appear. Now you have to zoom in to the corner bracket. Now hover your mouse over the corner bracket, you hover over the flat surface of it, and you can eventually select the point in the corner where my cursor is. Then zoom out, revolve again with the right click, and then zoom into the extrusion and hover over it and do a left click on that part, that point over there. And if you zoom out and revolve a little, it looks something like this. And then you click on the tick mark. And now if you then you have to close this button for a fasten too, because we don't need another fasten mate. Now if you try to move it around, if you do a left click on it and try to drag it around, both the parts will be intact whatever you do. If you move this around too, they will always move together. Next we click on insert and insert rev-41-1432, the extrusion again. Click on the tick mark, and we want to make this 90 degrees laying flat. So we will click that button, type 90 degrees, press enter. But for this time we need it turned in this fashion. So if you go to the top view, we want something like a plus sign, so 90 degrees, and press enter. This extrusion has to be placed somewhere over here, and so we will also do another fastened mate. To do that, we will click on fasten mate, and hover over the new extrusion. So we will select that point. After selecting that point, we will zoom into the corner bracket from earlier, and we will select that point again on the corner bracket and click on the tick mark, and it shall look something like this from the top. They will always move together now. Now we want to insert another extrusion, and this one too has to be horizontal. Along with the extrusion, we will need another corner bracket. The corner bracket has to fit over here. So we will rotate this by 90 degrees and click on enter. So we want this kind of an orientation for the corner bracket to come here. We will click on fasten mate. We will hover and select the top right corner point. Then we will revolve a little and go and select this point over here. And once you manage to do that, it will look something like this. We will press on the tick mark. Now to join this extrusion to that corner bracket, you have to select fasten mate, zoom in, that corner point, revolve a little with the right click, and go ahead and select the top left corner point here and click on the tick mark. So now from the top you should see something like a U shape which you have made, and this all moves together whenever you try to drag it. Now to close the U and make it a proper square from the top, we will click on insert, insert a corner bracket, click on the tick mark. This corner bracket needs to join an extrusion on top to close the square. So it has to be positioned something like this, which is some sort of an L shape but inverted. We will then click on fasten mate. We will hover over, select the top right corner, then zoom in and select this point here. I think it's gotten something wrong. We can try that again. So you can just cancel it and click on fasten mate. I think we should select the top left corner this time, so it's easier. Revolve a little, zoom in and select that point. And now we have a corner bracket. Similarly, to join the extrusion from this end, we need another corner bracket. So we will click on insert, insert a corner bracket. And the corner bracket has to be oriented something like this, 180 degrees, and click on enter. We will click on fasten mate, select the top right corner, zoom in, revolve a little using the right click, and place it over there and click on the tick mark. The last step to making the frame is inserting another 1432 extrusion which comes there. This extrusion has to be aligned horizontally, so we will align it horizontally. Type out 90 degrees and click on the white space. You can do a Control plus Z to get it back into the original state. I think there was some problem, so we can do that again. Control Z would work here. We want it to be 90 degrees to lay flat. Okay. We will click on fasten mate. And it's just following the same steps that we had followed before, doing a little revolving, moving around. I think I selected the wrong point there, so I will do that again. Yep, click on the tick mark, and if you guys see, now we've formed a full square which resembles the square on the outside of the drivetrain over here. Our next step is to introduce the bars in the center, which will add more strength to the square which we have made, the chassis or the drivetrain structure which we need. For that, we will need more extrusions, which we will either insert, or there's a shortcut for doing that, and which makes everything much easier. So what we can do is go to the top view. We can first click on the extrusion, press the shift button, zoom in, and while pressing the shift button, zoom in and select the corner bracket, and then zoom in and select the other corner bracket also while pressing the shift button, and you will now be able to select all three of them together. Now what we want to do is press Ctrl plus C on your keyboard to copy it, and Ctrl plus V on your keyboard to create a paste of the copy which we have done. And if you try to see now, you can find the copy of the three parts we had selected earlier. And this copy will act as a bar which we wanted in the center. The three of them which are here, or there are four of them here, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And if you try to move it around, it will always retain the joints which we had made earlier, so the parts haven't gotten separated. We will then click on Fasten Mate, but this time Fasten Mate will not work for us because we need to be able to move this bar wherever we want inside this frame. So now we will select the Slider Mate here, and if you selected the Fasten Mate by mistake, you can go ahead and select the Slider Mate. Now we want to zoom in and select the top right corner. We want to revolve around and zoom in and select one of the surfaces on the extrusion, so that that corner bracket now comes over here before you press the tick mark. But if you notice over here, the extrusion is somewhere near the extrusions on the left hand side. So for that, we will click on offsets, and we will offset this by a little bit. So offset in the X direction. So if you can see, we want to move it over here, and in the X direction, let's try minus 100 mm. And minus 100 mm seems to work perfectly. So if you see, the position has moved from here initially to over here in the X-axis. And if you click on the tick mark, then all the parts which were joined to the previous corner bracket will also snap in. Similarly, we want to make another copy of this side, so that we are able to make the supporting extrusions in the center from the right hand side. So we will first select this extrusion, then we will press the shift key, press the shift key, select that corner bracket and this corner bracket, Control plus C, and then Control plus V. And if you see now, you can find a copy of the extrusion which can be moved around. So we want it somewhere over here, but we need to make a joint, or we need to make a mate for it. So we will do the same procedure like before. We will select slider mate. We will go ahead and select the top left corner. And zoom in and select this surface of the extrusion. Now we want this to be somewhere closer to the right hand side, the outer extrusion. So in the X direction, we will have to first select offset and move it by minus 150 mm like we did before. But this one seems a little too much, it's too close. Let's try minus 100 mm. And this seems to work fine. And we will click on the tick mark so that everything joins in. And now if you try to move it all around, it will remain fixed always. And if you revolve around, you will be able to notice that we have made a strong and sturdy structure for the wheelbase, and this is a very important part of the robot, since our four-wheel drivetrain is going to be the basis or the bottom foundation of the robot, which will be made for the robotics challenge this year, which you guys will be making. So let me know if you guys have any questions regarding this, and we can have a discussion next time. So for this video, I would not like to extend it further since it's been pretty long already. This video has turned out to be quite long. So in the next video, we will go ahead and mount our motors, and we will mount the wheels. Thank you so much, team, and look forward to meeting you again.